we are talking about why perfectionists become depressed. So, I don't know if you've ever gone to a job interview and then they ask you what your weakness is, and you wrote down that you were a perfectionist because you think it's one of those traits that's like sneakily a good one because it makes it look like you want to do a good job. Um, and also, I forgot to mention, if this is something you struggle with, book in a clarity call. We can chat about how we can help you overcome this. So back to what I was saying before. So perfectionism is one of those traits that we think it's not that bad. Like, it's kind of helping you, but the thing is, it's really not. Like, when we need things to be perfect and we're critical of ourselves past the point of being constructive, we really set ourselves up to fail, because you can't shame yourself into doing a good job, and you can't shame yourself into like being motivated to do something. Like, shame is a really bad motivator. It's not very encouraging, and it kind of sets you up to feel bad. And when you feel bad most of the time, that becomes a temperament, and then that temperament really sticks with you, and then that becomes like an aspect of your personality. So it really like encodes within your body, and then that's something that feels familiar to you to go to. So it's really easy for you to go to that behavior, and so you don't really want to be like consistently feeling those like bad feelings of like feeling shame and guilt and like bad about yourself, because then that's what's going to feel familiar to you, and we're always just seeking to recreate what feels familiar to ourselves. So we want to be really conscious of like the space that we spend the most of our time in terms of mood. And I'm not saying that we need to like bypass our feelings, or that you should feel good all the time. I think it's just having awareness about the primary feelings that you're feeling most of the time, and if they're not serving you, like how can you go about changing them so that they are more productive towards what you want to create. And so the reason why perfectionism can really turn into depression is the cause of depression is like harsh, hurtful words not following your purpose. And so the more harsh, critical, hurtful words you say to yourself, the worse you're going to feel, because your feelings are always a result of your thinking. And this is kind of a simplified approach, but just stick with it for now, because like if we were to go in more in depth, we'd need more time than we have in this video. So stick with that for now, that your thoughts are creating your feelings. So you really need to be aware of the thoughts that you're thinking, and ultimately, are you buying into them? Is it true? Because your mind is a meaning making machine. It wants to make a meaning out of absolutely every single thing that happens, whether you're aware of it or whether you're not aware of it. So when we know that this is what it wants to do, we can use this to our advantage, because we can start to notice like when things happen, like what's our immediate response to it? Like, what do we think that means about us? And if it's not empowering us, how can we start to change that response? So going back to what I was saying before, if depression is caused by harsh, hurtful words, when you're trying to be perfect and you're being really critical of yourself, and you're just basically always telling yourself that what you're doing isn't good enough, it needs to be better, like people are going to laugh at you, whatever you're telling yourself, you're setting yourself up for this bad feeling mood, which will turn into a temperament, which becomes an aspect of your personality, which is not something that we want to create for ourselves. So also, when you are setting these goals for yourself that have these like goalposts that are unachievable, basically, like I'm sure you've heard of like the SMART goal setting thing. So that's setting goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And so in that, you really need to be looking at like, is this goal realistic? And if your goal is perfection, like perfection doesn't exist. Like, what is perfect? It's completely subjective. It's not actually an ideal that you can aim for. So when you set goals for yourself that are unrealistic and aren't really measurable and aren't achievable and aren't like time bound either, then you're setting yourself up to fail. Because when you are constantly setting yourself goals that are not achievable, this really destroys your confidence in yourself. And so when we're not saying that you want to set goals that are like super easy, because there's it's called Locke's principle of goal setting, and I'm just going to pull it up so that I can remember what they all are. But basically, Locke invented this goal setting method where he was like, okay, if you set a goal for yourself that has these 5 qualities, you're more likely to be able to achieve it, because it has the things provided to make you motivated to go and get that goal. So basically, you want to avoid setting general easy goals, and if you're struggling with perfectionism, I don't think that's your issue. So the 5 principles of goal setting are clarity, which kind of goes back to the S in SMART goals, which is like being specific, like what exactly do you want to achieve? And you can't say perfection, and you can't say like it needs to be something specific. Like, say you're like, okay, I want to to be, instead of setting the goal of like, I want a perfect body, which doesn't exist, you can be like, I want to feel good in my body. I want to move my body consistently. My goal is that I'm going to move my body for 30 minutes, 6 days a week. That is a specific goal that's achievable because you know you've achieved it, because you're like, did I work out for 5 times this week or 6 times, whatever it was? Yes or no? The second one is challenge. So, say you're used to working out and you're really comfortable with it. That 30-minute goal is probably not going to be challenging enough for you, so it's not going to be that interesting. And as humans, we lose interest in things very quickly. So, you want it to be challenging for yourself. So, instead of 30 minutes, you could be like, okay, I'm committing to moving my body for an hour every single day. Or I'm going to do a super hard workout for 30 minutes every day. Make it somewhat challenging for yourself because that keeps it interesting. The next one is commitment. Like, you need to be committed to it. You need to think that this thing is really important. You need to have like a good why behind doing it. Otherwise, you're not going to be motivated to do it. So having that commitment is like one of the most important things. And it's like, with commitment, you're either committed or you're not. There is no halfway with commitment. You're either like, I am going to do this or I'm not going to do this. The next one is feedback. And so if this is a goal that you're working on that's like maybe with an employer or with someone else, then obviously you can be looking to them for that feedback. But if we go back to our goal of like working out and moving our body, the feedback could be like, okay, I feel like I'm getting stronger based on these markers. I feel like I'm getting faster based on these markers. I feel like I'm doing a good job because I've lost X amount of weight. That's feedback that we're looking for, that's telling us, are we moving closer to the goal? Are we not moving closer to the goal? And then the last one is task complexity, which is sort of similar to challenge, but like, you want it to be interesting enough for yourself that you're going to remain engaged with it. Like, if you're going to the gym and you're doing the exact same workout every single day, it's going to get boring really, really quickly. So you want to keep it interesting for yourself. There needs to be some kind of a complexity to this task. So instead of aiming for perfection, try and adopt these principles when you're setting goals for yourself, because this will make you feel confident, because you'll realize you've achieved something. And the more things you achieve, the better you'll feel about yourself. And that's really the goal here, of avoiding falling into the trap of like depression and perfectionism. So basically, long story short, set goals that are achievable for yourself. Use the SMART method. Do the inner work so that you know you're worthy and deserving, even if you're not perfect, quote unquote. And decide that you're only going to speak to yourself kindly. If you wouldn't say it to like a friend, don't say it to yourself. Like, the words that we say to ourselves really form the opinion and like the way that we see ourselves. So it's really important that this feedback be kind. And like, if you can't say something nice to yourself, well, at least go for neutral and don't be destructive. And it's baby steps. Everything feels weird the first time you've done it. So hopefully this was helpful for you. If you need help overcoming anxiety and perfectionism, I am here to help you. You can book in a free clarity call and we can chat about how I can help you overcome anxiety and perfectionism in 21 days. So I hope you have an incredible day, and I will talk to you soon.